Good morning, Rick.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm fine, Keith. Good morning. You startled
Oh,
me for a moment. I
oh,
had to
sorry about
like,
that, man. Um, we're gonna have you kick it off. The topic is be careful. Your mind is so powerful.
oh, okay, yeah. I think one of the things that I have to keep in mind all the time is that the mind is kind of like an engine, and it keeps spewing out whatever steam, power, whatever the propulsion is that gets you to the next level. And in that sense, it's a very powerful tool to have. On the other hand, we often also have to keep in mind that I think everything that we are, I mean, everything, all of it, everything in our world is the result of, what we think, right? It's either what we think now or what we have thought in the past. And as a result of that, we have to recognize that the mind is all powerful. And that means we have to be really, really careful about what we feed it, what kinds of things we allow it to talk about, what kinds of things we allow it to say to us that manage our lives. Because I think at the end of the day, what we think, we become. What we think basically is what we become. So I give an example. I've got an upcoming fairly serious motion to argue. And I've been doing this a long time, almost 50 years, but I'm still nervous. I'm still nervous every day I practice law. I'm still nervous when I go into the courtroom. I'm still nervous when I open up my mail, whatever it is. And that those nerves come from a couple of places. One, caution, the idea that you have to be very careful. Two, that you have to be mindful of not letting whatever it is that's in the mail or in court or whatever frustrate you. And then thirdly, the idea is that there is something to be made out of that can be positive, either for you or your client, for me or my client. And so those things I have to continually override my mind on because my mind wants to go into ego protection. This is dangerous. This is bad. You got to be careful, and that creates anxiety and nerves and so forth. So for this upcoming hearing, it's always the same story. I have it's not butterflies. It's a death grip of fear. And so I just have to override that. I have to consciously override that. How do I do it? I do it by a couple of things. One is breathing. Two is smiling. Three is going slowly
Hmm.
and just calming the hell down.
I
And
love
then
it.
I think also if you have enough time to work in exercise and of course be mindful of your diet always and not to spew negative thoughts such as, oh my God, this is so important. What if I blow it? I could lose my law license. I get fired by the client. The judge will think I'm a fool and put a memo out to every lawyer in the world that I'm terrible. All of that. That's what your mind my mind is doing all the time, right?
Yeah.
And if you're an A type, make it times 10, make it exponential, put a little square two above the top of that because it's so fierce and it has you by the backside.
Yeah.
So I think the point that I'm trying to drill into myself, and I, by using that example, I want to make clear to all of the people watching that it never goes away. At least for me, I've never been able to master it where I can just feel totally placid. I have to override that. I have to override the anxiety. And the key, I think, is just to keep in mind that because the mind is so powerful, if you don't let, if you let it go, it'll drive you to places you don't want to be. Everything that we've thought of, everything that we think of, is really what we become. And so, if you decide at the outset what you want to become, calm, peaceful, directed, kind, compassionate, those are things that will rule your life.
Rick, I love that. I agree completely about it. And like you said, it's always there. And you made a great distinction that the mind can be this powerful tool. I mean, all of the technology, the innovations, the advancements that we have accomplished as a species has been because of how the mind has been directed. Some of it positive, some of it destructive, but the mind, when it's used in the service of creating or being inventive, um, it's normally it's not normally a problem. It's when a personal mind, like you said, that's attached to the ego, when that gets involved, well, the fear, the obsessive thinking, the ruminating, when all that's what causes, at least the mess in my life, and that is That is a horse you will never tame. Yeah, that thing will buck and buck and buck. You just become aware of it and you let it pass right through. You let it go out in the field and buck all it wants to. You just don't get on it. And so what I've learned is to not try to saddle that thing, not try to ride it. Don't let it, I won't let it lead me anywhere. And I keep telling myself, like I made a commitment years ago that what I value, one of the things I value most is inner peace. So when my mind starts piping up about this person and judging or trying to make me fearful about something or worried about scarcity that there won't be enough to go around or I won't get my fair share or jealousy or whatever that is, I tell myself, I'm not giving up my inner peace for that. And when I make that kind of declaration, it just passes. It passes right through me. I don't try to suppress it. I don't try to, to try to fix it. I just let it pass and it passes. And then what's left is peace. And so I totally agree with you. Be careful. The mind is powerful. So you just want to be aware of it. You're the boss in there. Oftentimes people they don't know they're the boss. So the mind is running them all over the place. You're the boss in there. Don't let it take you down a road that you don't want to go down to. And the way that you do that is the things that you said. You slow down, you breathe, and you just allow awareness to come in. And then you have control over the situation. So Rick, thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that perspective.
You're welcome, Keith. Thanks for your sharing as well. I really enjoy hearing how you manage your life. It's an example for all of us. Thanks.
Thank you, Rick.